All right, so I was asked to demonstrate how different ways of putting calendars on your ASPEN pages because the ASPEN calendar is completely useless. So I'm going to show you a couple of those. The first thing would be whenever you're doing stuff in your gradebook, if you put it in with a begin and end date. So if I go in here and I'm looking at my quarter 3, of course there's nothing in here. If I add an assignment the day that I introduce it with the due date, it'll show up on the student's planner with those due dates in them. The student planner looks a little bit different than ours, but they would have the day it started the whole way till the day it ended. So if I started it on Monday and it was due on Friday, it would show up in their planner for that day, every day for the week. So that's one way to do it. That's fairly straightforward, doesn't mean you have to do a whole lot of work. The second method that I think is a little bit more difficult, but not a massive thing. If you go to your class page that you've made, and you can see this is my ceramics 1. I have a daily agendas blog that I entered, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So you get into the class you want to edit the page, and then simply grab a blog over here on the right, drag it down to what you want. Okay, I can double click on that name and I can change this to daily agendas. And then what I ended up doing for a while, and I've done it this way, and I've done it the next way I'm going to show you as well. I can simply say that this is going to be the agenda for the week of, this would be 120. I can put categories in it if I want. I really don't care about categories. And then all I simply do okay, so we don't have school on Monday. Okay, so there would be my Tuesday, and then I can do a bulleted list. By putting bullets there, you know, this is what we're going to do. And I can simply do a bulleted list. If I want to make this prettier so that it stands out, I can make it bold. You know, however you wanted to do it. I could put the dates behind it if I want. And basically, once I'm done, I hit save, and that blog will show up there. The drawback to using the blog is you can't plan ahead by more than a week. If you do, it will put the next week's entry above this week. So I have the week of 120. Well, if I wanted to put the next week in, it's going to end up putting that above this week's calendar. So that's the real drawback to there. And then you can either delete or keep the agenda so kids can see if they were out for a couple weeks. You would just do another new entry. What I would do first is edit this one, and I'd copy and paste everything how I want it here, and then paste that into a new agenda. And that way all I had to do was change the bulleted list. I will warn you when you do that, sometimes ASPEN does get a little funky with the formatting, so you may have to go back in and reformat parts of it. So that's that. If you don't like it or you want to get rid of it, you just come up here to the upper right, remove widgets. Everything has a delete button that shows up on it, and so now I can go through and I can delete whatever I don't like. The last thing that I'm going to show you is adding a Google Calendar instead of using the agendas here. So what you're going to do, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to Google Calendar. A couple ways to do that. If you add the app and you click on your little app button, and by the way, I'm using Chrome, Google Calendar, you have to add that little app there. You can also go to your Drive or any Google window for that matter, and your little app launcher is this little group of 9 dots, and Google Calendar is always there. I can create a class calendar, so I simply go to My Calendars, create new calendar, and then I can give it its name, a description if I want, location if you really want to do that. Down here, you're going to click Share Calendar with Others. Make this calendar public to Big Spring. See all event details. If you use the Only Free Busy, it won't tell them what is on the calendar. It'll just tell them there's something there. So you need to see all event details, and then you can tell it to create the calendar. All right, so I didn't make a calendar here because I already have one made. So I've made my calendar. If you click on the calendar and the color goes away, that means it hid the calendar. But if I click over here on the little down arrow and I go to calendar settings, if I scroll part way down my list, you'll see this embed this calendar, and there's this gobbledygook in this box. If I simply click in there and then Control A on a PC, Command A on a Mac, to select everything, and then again Control C to copy, or Command C on a Mac to copy that. I come back to Aspen and I'm going to add a banner. This totally doesn't make sense until you see it. So I add a banner and I'm going to edit. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click on this source button. Click on the source button and it looks like it grayed out the window, but what you're going to end up doing is you click in the box there and paste that iframe gobbledygook in there, and then you're going to go down here to save and it will automatically interject that calendar. Now the cool thing is when you do it this way, if I come back to my calendar and let's say I want to put something in for tomorrow, okay. So, welcome to class. Okay. Make sure you change to the class calendar that you want. It's always going to default to your main one. You can change that, but if you're not working in ceramics, you're going to have to change it anyways. And then I'll hit Edit Event because that'll give me a little more choices. It's all day right now. I can actually make it a very specific time during the day if I wanted to. I'm going to keep it as all day just for this. If you want a location, description of what's going on. So, you know, I could put, we're going to do introductory activities, whatever I wanted to put there. Then I'm going to hit save, and it will show up here. Now, if you go back to your Aspen page, it's not there. All you have to do is refresh that page. So if I just click on the class page to refresh it, and there, welcome to class shows up. When the students look at this, they click on it, it'll give them the extra information here, or they hit more details, and it will take them to a page that will show them what's going on. So that's setting up a calendar on your Aspen page. 3 different ways to do it. I would say this is the hardest because it ends up becoming problematic sometimes with permissions. The blog is more straightforward, or just using stuff putting into the gradebook is the most straightforward.